everyone. I'm Regina Alison, CEO of Research Pro. As you know, they also call me Money and Professor Prospect because of all the billions and the billions and billions of receipts in receipts and fundraising. So super excited to be here um, with Lisa Rovner with LKR Strategies, longtime colleague, former OSU colleague. We both have spent some parts of our career at the Ohio State University and seen the machine of fundraising. So excited to be live today, grateful to be live, grateful to be collaborating with Lisa for our upcoming webinar, Data Knows Best, taking the guesswork out of your donor stewardship. And that's coming up on this week. Is it this week? It is, just a couple of days on the 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's a virtual webinar, and we would love to have you. So, as I mentioned, Lisa Rovner is with me. Lisa, I'm going to turn it over to you
Yep,
to introduce yourself and, yeah, just take it from there.
sure. Thank you. Well, I'm delighted to be here with Regina. As she said, we crossed paths at the Ohio State University many years ago. I have been a frontline fundraiser in Central Ohio for nearly 30 years. Every place from OSU, Ballet Met, Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, lots of different places, and have just recently launched my fundraising firm, LKR Strategies. I provide, thank you, provide fractional fundraising for nonprofits to help them boost their fundraising results. Um, just, yeah, really excited. Stewardship is kind of my thing. I believe that so much of fundraising and philanthropy is relationship driven, that the more that you invest in that relationship with the donor, deepen their engagement with the organization, the results are going to be there. I don't think there's any replacement for that personal touch, especially as we are in a day and age where everything is electronic. So much texting, so much just, email, that, you send a handwritten note nowadays and it's like a thing from the past. So, but that it just, all of those touches just make such a difference in fundraising. So,
So you kind of glanced right over it, but I want to go back on your like your experience because you have such a breadth of experience.
hmm.
So the Ohio State University, Dave Thomas Foundation. I heard Ballet Met. So remind me what area of the university you were in.
Yeah, I was at a few different places. I think the first time I was at the Wexner Center for the Arts, which is the arts organization, the contemporary arts organization. I was a graduate student there and then worked there full time in a few different places, and then left, worked at, I think I went to the museum and a few other organizations. And then when I came back to the university, I was actually at the medical center before it was named also now the Wexner Medical Center at Ohio State. But at that time it hadn't been named yet. So I was in the donor relations and stewardship department for the medical center. So we worked on, I mean, again, building those relationships with high level donors. Really, we were working with the 6 and 7 figure donors who were naming endowments. They were naming a chair or a professorship, or a wing of a building or an entire new building. So yeah, working on planning events and introducing the donors to the physicians who were, um, reaping the benefits and being able to do the work and the research because of the donors' support. So, yeah.
Oftentimes, I see like organizations, they justify and they're totally on board when we talk about donor stewardship with endowment donors,
Mm,
6 figure donors.
right.
But they're not the only ones with, it's not the only donor class where stewardship is important. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that just a little bit about stewardship across the board?
Yeah. Um, so I've had such different experiences at, let's say, Ballet Met, a local regional dance company here in Columbus, Ohio. So a lot of that was so much more personal, where you can invite the donors in to a rehearsal in the studio, or send them a little bit about an upcoming production. So there was kind of that in-person element, that when I went to Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, and suddenly it's a nationwide organization and tens of thousands of donors, and like you said, at lower levels, $10, $25, $50. But those gifts count and matter, because for those donors, that's a significant gift. They are making that decision, that choice to donate to that organization. So it's crucial that you are thanking those donors, showing your appreciation, showing them the impact of that gift, the work that's going to happen, that's going to be able to help those children, help whatever organization. So yeah, you cannot leave those folks out. I completely understand. You've got to scale and be realistic, where you're not going to be inviting $50 donors, let's say, to meet the CEO or come to an event, but you can perhaps implement an automated email series, or a postcard that goes out a few months after the gift. So it's implementable, it's scalable, but you still are building that stewardship program and that stewardship communication, because there's no reason to not say thank you to every gift that you possibly can. Yeah.
I love that. So I don't want us to give away too many
I know.
tips, too many ideas. That's what we're doing the webinar for. But I absolutely love that, and I love that framing. It's there. Every gift is important, and oftentimes, so I'm a prospect development professional, and I'm always often focused on finding the best prospect for the major gift, or
Yep.
moving people from one gift level to the next. But I love that you called out for those that are doing a $50 donation, $100, 10, 5, whatever the dollar amount may be, that for some donors, that is the major gift.
Yeah.
That is, their impact donation. And that is just as important. So I love that you call that out. Even like for someone like me, sometimes we get a little bit jaded. Um, it's like, okay, can you double that? Okay, can we get you into the leadership circle? Okay, can we get you at the $10,000 level?
Yeah.
Okay, can we get you at the endowment level?
Yeah.
So it's that. And again, we do get a bit jaded, especially being in this work for so long. But it is very important to also have that frame that
Yeah.
sometimes this is their major gift, and they still need that stewardship. They still need that engagement. So I think that's not too far off. I do say, I don't get too jaded where I forget that. But yeah, um, every gift does matter, and I love that you called that out. So I'm really curious if you have seen like any common like hurdles or mishaps, whether or not that's been in higher ed, in healthcare, arts and culture, at the
Mm.
Ballet Med, or like is the Dave Thomas Foundation, is that social services? What kind of work is
They,
that in?
yeah, they do. They do a lot of advocacy and education, but they do fund what are called adoption recruiters
Mhm.
that are on the ground. Their focus is to find permanent homes and families for children who are in foster care, but the parental rights have been terminated. So these are kiddos who are in the foster care system. They are wards of the state. They have no family, and too many children are aging out of foster care every year without a permanent family at 18 or 21. So yes, the funds to that organization are definitely supporting boots on the ground, social workers working with those children to get them that permanent home, so they don't age out on their own. Yeah.
So those types of organizations are very different, and I would imagine that in some ways they have different types of donors,
Hmm.
or the donors are interested in different types of impact. But are there any common challenges that you see teams make, despite the organization they're at?
Mm.
Um, like common myths.
Yeah. I think the toughest one is how quickly, after a donor makes a gift, that gift comes into the organization, you've processed that gift. when is that thank you going out?
Yeah.
What does that look like? And I think that's a challenge across the board, especially for large organizations. But I think that's critical, is to how can you improve those processes? How can you, um, build up your resources and your team so that from gift, entry into your system to sending that acknowledgement letter or confirmation email, or, at the larger level gifts, picking up the phone or sending out, again, that handwritten note. The quicker that happens to say thank you, the better. But I think even if that is within, a week or 2 or 3, getting that out is important. But then I think that next step, I think that's where a lot of organizations fall short. They think, oh, I've done what I need to do. I'm going to move on. I have all these other donors. I have all this other work. I would say kind of across the board too is, again, just, the simple act of saying thank you. Again, say thank you before you ask for that next gift, because whenever somebody gave, if there's going to be an email going out or another direct mail piece, or they're going to see a social media post, because you've got a robust fundraising program happening, if you're not saying thank you at least once or twice, I love as many times as possible, unless someone says, please, I don't need a thank you. I'm good. So you turn off their notifications, you don't send them anything. But most folks, they want to hear thank you. They want to know that their gift was received, appreciated. It's going to do good work well before you're asking for another gift.
I love that you are generous in that. What comes to mind is that, that old standby, that thank you. And I think this is from higher ed. This is definitely OSU days, that training kicking in. That thank you letter is out.
Yeah.
In like 48 hours,
Right.
72 hours, within the next 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
So I love that you've given a bit more generous window, 2 to 3 weeks,
I only because I will say, Regina, you're absolutely right. Standard or ideal is, like you said, 48, 72 hours.
Mhm.
You want it that quick. But I think being realistic
Yeah.
is okay, because I think there's too many organizations that I've heard, or I've heard from donors that say, I never got any thank you.
Yes.
So don't let perfect, the attempt to be perfect,
Yeah.
take away from, okay, it might not be that fast, but I'm getting something out.
Yeah.
And then you're sending a video or something else in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, you try to achieve those high expectations or high ideals, but I mean, let's be realistic too.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you call out that next step, because coming from that OSU background, I am a stickler for, like, come on, people, let's get these thank yous out, let's get these
Yeah.
acknowledgements out. But I also understand that, like, I'm aware and can be realistic that that's an environment that has an entire department dedicated to gift processing
Right.
and sending out those thank you letters.
Right.
Like, that's all those people do. Is
Yep.
enter the gifts and generate the thank you letters.
Yep.
That's a huge portion of their job. So I understand that, and that it's a team of them. But I do like the best practices. But I also really appreciate that you call out that second step, because many organizations do. I see this so often. Well, we put a thank you letter. What else did you do?
Mm-hmm.
Or they move to online giving. Well, our online giving platform sends a receipt.
Yep.
And it says thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And
that's
yeah.
step one.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I
Right.
love that you sort of set that expectation that there is another step and there is additional engagement that needs to happen
Yeah.
sooner, more quickly, preferably sooner rather than later, and that it's ongoing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would say that I am most proud, I think, being when I was at the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, of setting up a really robust stewardship communication plan. And again, I had a team. So here, is the ideal, but knowing that there were outstanding teammates who are helping to actually implement. But we had for, let's say, one-time donors, repeat donors, monthly donors, there was a cadence throughout the next 12 months of thank yous.
Yeah.
Knowing that these folks are going to get the campaign emails, they're going to get the direct mail. So we know they're getting asked again, but because throughout those asks, they're also getting a thank you, they're getting a postcard, they're getting, this is the result of your work. They're getting a video message, let's say from an adoption recruiter or the CEO saying thank you. And this is what we're doing because of your gift. The renewal rate, the retention rate was really, really strong. And that's ideal. Again, not repeatable everywhere, but I think if you can take the pieces parts and say, well, we can't do something every single month for every single donor, but maybe we could do something every other month, and it's to this segment most often, or then maybe every few months it's to this segment of donors, but that there's definitely an ongoing plan and an ongoing communication of thank yous. Yeah.
I love that, ongoing. And so we're going to get into some of those details and like how to segment your data and which segments can get which type of stewardship, which type of ongoing engagement. We're going to get into that during our webinar on
Wednesday.
Wednesday. It's Monday. Still moving into my week here. But we're going to get into that in just a couple of days on Wednesday, October 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern. So all of our West Coast friends will be able to join us, and it's not the crack of dawn for you. And so I want to send a quick acknowledgement to those of you that have reached out recently and just asked, like, could you do something on a day that's not a Thursday? So I typically do programming on a Thursday because I like Thursdays. But this is Research Pros, this is my stewardship, as it were. I'm saying thank you, and I'm adjusting based on what, the feedback has been from my constituency. So we're doing this on Wednesday, and I'm really, really grateful and looking forward to it. I think you and I could probably talk donors and donor engagement all day, endlessly. I think, in some parts of our lives we have. So it comes natural to us. But I'm looking forward to the session. Anything else you want to share before we head out?
I don't think so. No, I agree, Regina. Yeah, I could talk all day about saying thank you to donors, and but yeah, we'll share all the details, share a lot more on Wednesday. So yeah, hope to see everybody there.
So I know the link is in the description. The registration link is there. I encourage you to sign up for this webinar. You'll have access to the replay. Lisa and I will be on live for a live session, live instruction session. You'll be able to have Q&A and all of that. We're also giving away the Research Pro Donor Engagement Planner will be available. And I know Lisa is putting something together as well. I'm looking forward to that. So just want to say thank you again. Congratulations again on taking that leap of faith and sort of putting your shingle out, as it were. Really excited and happy to have you on this side.
Me too. It's good. I love it.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing everyone on Wednesday. So let us know if you're catching this in the replay. But again, look forward to seeing you Wednesday, October 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern. Registration link is in the description of this video. Thanks, everyone.